Building downtown. Building downtown. Building downtown.
It's fight week. BTC 9 going down February 29th at The Odd in Kitchener, Ontario, Canada. Make sure you get your tickets. This is The Building Downtown. I'm your host, Jason Kelly. Follow us at The Building DT. Make sure you follow and subscribe on all major platforms, YouTube, Stitcher, iTunes, Spotify, Google, all those places. We have a special guest joining us this evening. He is the matchmaker for BTC. His name is Rob Veevers. He'll be joining us momentarily to talk a little bit about the matches coming up on BTC 9, how he got into the position as matchmaker, as well as some of the fundamentals of building a card and what goes into his job. BTC 9 is headlined by Jesse Ronson, who was in the UFC, the PFL, and he is fighting Troy Lampson, who you may have seen recently on Dana White Looking for a Fight. There's a slew of good fights on that card. Adam Asenza and Cody Pfister is one. Plus, we're going to go through all the fights on this card once we get Rob on the line here. And without further ado, let's bring him in. All right, now joining the show is BTC matchmaker Rob Veevers. Rob, how's it going this evening?
Not too bad, my man. How are you doing?
Doing great. I'm glad we got some time together. Matchmaker is always an interesting person to talk to. Before we get into this BTC 9 card, I'd like to get a little history on you. Matchmaking in MMA is not exactly a job you can aim for when you're in high school, then do 4 years of college, get your diploma degree, and then go on to get a job in matchmaking. So how did you stumble into this job?
Well, sort of been in and around MMA for quite a while. And then when BTC decided that they were going to do some shows, I sort of reached there. Well, I was just talking to one of the fighters about it, and they were telling me what was happening and who was pegged to be the matchmaker at the time. And that was Coach Maz at Burlington Academy. BAAC is the gym name. I can't remember what it stands for. Anyways, I know he's super busy. He runs WACO, which is a kickboxing organization in Canada, worldwide. So he's busy with that, busy with the gym, busy coaching fighters. So I just said, hey, if he needs some help, I'm more than happy and actually very much interested in helping. And the guy said, okay, cool. I'll just run that by him. I went home and I put together a bout list for that particular show that I thought would be great for the promotion, great for the fans. And later that day, I was sort of quasi-hired as the matchmaker for BTC, and here we are 3 years later.
So you've been there since, what, day one?
I'd say day two. But
day two?
Pretty much right from the beginning of things, yep.
Right from the beginning of things. So you've had a hand in putting together. Are there any other matchmakers that play a part at all? Like, do you bounce ideas off?
No, I'm. Well, for the most part, it's me. But I will definitely, for some of the bigger fights or whatever, I'll reach out to the owners of the promotion itself, Sherry Carruthers and Irene Starr, and I'll say, hey, what do you think about this? Or I know it doesn't exactly scream ticket sales, but I think we can get tickets from this side of things, but also it's going to be a super awesome fight that we should put on.
I like that you mentioned ticket sales. So you're approaching this business minded. You're not just looking at that's a wicked scrap. You're looking at what the draw is financially as well.
You have to, 100%. You have to, and it's the good and the bad of the job, but also the promotion business. If there's not people there watching the show, there's not going to be any shows because it's very expensive to put on the shows properly. I mean, there's different ways that people can and will definitely cut corners, and that's not something we're interested in doing whatsoever. The venues, the stuff backstage for the guys, the hotels, that sort of thing. We're not putting them in like a Comfort Inn or a Motel 6 or anything like that. The hotels are legit hotels and stuff like that. And little minor things that, to each individual athlete, it's not that big of a deal, but it's nice that it's not, a cot in a roach-infested motel. It goes a long way. So there's a cost that go along with that. And at the end of the day, there's refs that we have to pay, judges, officials, the commission as a whole to regulate it, the venues and all that other stuff as well. All that costs a lot of money to put these shows on. And if there's nobody in the building to watch it, then only the dumbest of business people will continue to do shows that are hemorrhaging money, and that's part of the reason why there hasn't been much longevity with promotions in Ontario. And in the fall, we broke the record for shows put on by a promotion with just 8. The score fighting,
shit.
the score fighting series was the had the most prior to that. And they did a hell of a job, but again, it came down to people showing up to watch, and it just wasn't there. Unfortunately, once Rogers purchased the score, that was the end of that.
Yeah, I remember that. That was a sad day for MMA around here.
Oh, it was crucial because it was dead after that, basically.
Yeah, or when Garnett Ace was doing the Global Warriors shows, the third one he tried to put on, and Ken Hayashi, the commissioner, he just put an axe to that last minute. And I know Garnett lost his shirt and that. Is commission still a bitch to deal with here?
Absolutely not.
No, it's changed, eh? That's so good to hear.
The commissioner has changed, but the thing too, and I mean, I didn't deal much at all with Ken whatsoever. So the only things that I hear about him are all hearsay stuff. But the way that for me and some of the other guys that are dealing with the commission, if you do what they ask, when they ask for it to be done, they're fantastic. If you send them matchups that are equal matchups, that there's not a lot of work that he's got to do in the background to sort of make sense of the fight or whatever, you're not going to have any issues. And very rarely do I have a fight that I send to him that's rejected because of an experience. Usually it's got more, there's more to it than an experience disadvantage for the one guy or another. There's usually other things in the background that lead to about being rejected. But if you don't dick around with them, they're going to be fantastic to work with. But the second you start, trying to lie to them, trying to not pay for certain things or whatever, then they're just going to be, they're by the book. You play by the book, you're going to be in good hands. And that's, again, from what I've heard, inside the commission, sometimes the stuff many years ago, Ken was the quote unquote bad guy, but it wasn't always his fault for certain things being the way they were. But because nobody knows that, all they hear is that Ken was a dick. So I don't know exactly what went on with certain things like that, but by all accounts, if you play by the rules and all that stuff, then there's really no issue.
That's good. It seems like you got a real grasp on this. When you were talking about the finances, like it sounds like you really get it. Do you have any sort of background in finances or education or anything? No,
we're a really, really small group that put this thing on. Like Irene, Sherry, and myself are pretty well the main 3 involved in this thing. We've got some help with some younger folk that are working for us. They're helping out as well, but more just sort of getting things done that we ask of them to get done. They're learning the ropes a little bit, but we have to. I have to have a massive understanding of the finance aspect of it. Just basically when it comes to putting the matchups together, I can't have, as much as I would love and everybody would love to have, a Jesse Ronson versus Troy Lampson fight 10 times over, or Adam Senza and Cody Pfister 10 times over. Doesn't make sense logistically to have that much money going out the door. You know what I mean? But it would be an amazing night of fights. There's I got to work within a budget, and again, I don't want this to be done at 9 or done at 10. We plan for the year, and I'm telling you now, come June, we'll be planning for 2021, and we can't do that if you're constantly just burning money. Because eventually the money will dry up and then you won't do any more shows. So we all have to be smart. I will say that Sherry, who is the absolute driving force behind this whole thing, Sherry Crothers, she doesn't get near enough credit. She has a very, very strong financial background. And that's where I learned the little fraction of the knowledge that I have in regards to finances and stuff like that. With this stuff, it stems from her 100%. She's very, very important to this thing, and she is hands-on with the finances, and not a dime is wasted.
Nice. So with the when you're negotiating the fighters' contracts and keeping finances in mind, what are some of the struggles that come up to that? Because, okay, Troy Lampson, take him for example, he was just on Dana White looking for a fight. So obviously that, that boosts his stock and everything. But being down in Miami, it's not like he's going to draw ticket sales. What do you get back out of him aside from the name there? Or is that like where you take the loss on his fight and gain on where Jesse Ronson's a hometown guy? He's probably going to sell a lot of tickets against a guy who, let's face it, just had face-to-face interaction with Dana White that everybody saw.
It's this particular fight is kind of an anomaly in the fact that it's a really, really high level fight. Both Jesse, he was fantastic to work with through the whole process. He understands that we aren't the UFC, we aren't PFL, so it's not like a $20,000 payday is coming his way by any means. He was awesome to work with, like really, really easy. To work with, didn't overshoot his ask by any means. So that was pretty straightforward to get to. Troy Lampson, same sort of idea. His management, they seem to understand too, like this is not looking for a fight. This is not contender series type thing. So you're not getting that money. It's a regional show. The budget is what it is. So they understand that they can't ask for tons of money, because I really don't care that he has just shaken hands with Dana White and fought in front of Dana White or anything like that. I don't care. It means nothing. It means nothing to me whatsoever. I like the fact that he did, and he fought really well on that show, but it means nothing to me. So my budget is my budget. I have a number that I can use, and a little bit of buffer in some cases. And if we can't agree on certain things, then we can't agree on it, and we both move on, no hard feelings, and it goes from there.
Are there other selling? Oh, sorry, go ahead.
Well, with Troy too, the other thing with him is that he's from Detroit, the Detroit area. So I do think we'll see some. I don't expect a busload of people to come follow him up across the border, but I do imagine that there'll be some folks that come across to see him. So there'll be a little bit of a ticket sale behind that too, but certainly won't cover his fight.
Are there other things that go into like drawing to draw a fighter to come? That's if it's you can't make it financially, but whether it be exposure or a placement on the card, a co-main or main or something like that. Are there other tactics as well that may not just be income when you're negotiating? Like you guys don't have obviously models and outlets and revenues avenues like like a Bellator or UFC or anything. That's why I'm asking. Like, is there anything set in this place or anything you guys are working towards, incentives or anything like that?
Well, we're always working towards bettering what we do and what we can do. So if we can, we're working on a couple things right now that will certainly be interesting to future athletes coming on. But it depends really. I mean, if somebody's been inactive for a while because they can't get a fight, and then suddenly I call and now there's some interest or whatever the case might be, just being able to offer them a platform, an opportunity to fight is sometimes all it takes.
Yeah.
But for right now, like we're like I say, we're definitely working on. We've got a couple irons in the fire for some big things, big changes that will make things more enticing to others. But really, our main focus and demographic of athlete we're looking for is the guys in Ontario. The reason we put these shows on is for the athletes in Ontario who, prior to us coming around, didn't have an opportunity to fight at home.
Are the contracts always one fight contracts, or is anyone restricted?
No, we've got lots of guys are signed into multi-fight deals. In some cases, we'll do single fight deals, but to build the roster, when we're doing the amount of shows that we're doing, it's good to offer guys multi-fight contracts, which I guess sort of helps answer your previous question, where that's an incentive as well. We're willing to invest in the athlete, offering them 3-5 fights, whatever we work out. Then they know that within that 12, 18, 24 month period, they're guaranteed to compete and stay busy, stay active.
Are they allowed to compete outside of BTC?
It all depends on the situation. They're it's an exclusive contract. If there's an opportunity for them elsewhere that they're interested in, they can certainly approach us with that. And if it doesn't impede our scheduling and plans for them or whatever, then by all means they can go down that road for sure.
Awesome. That's it's always nice to hear because obviously MMA has evolved over the years, but there was a time, and it still happens in some areas, where people get locked into terrible contracts, and they can't exit, they can't further their career, they can't take advantage of other opportunities, and it's a shame to see that, especially at this level, because it really prevents guys from getting to their ultimate goal, right? Like
it is, and I know what you're sort of leaning towards and what you're alluding to, and I'll sort of stay skirt the same thing that you're saying. But it's got to make sense for the business too. Like if we're not going to let somebody go off, if we have plans for them, whatever the plan is, we're not going to let them go. But in other cases where we've seen, and maybe what you're alluding to, is where they just have a guy and they bench him and they keep him there, just out of spite or whatever the case is, just so nobody else can use them, whatever. I don't agree with that at all, and I think that's slimy. But again, like I say, it's a business that we have to run. So if we have to roadblock somebody, it's not because we're being malicious. It's a business move. Whereas, like I say, in the past, we've seen different promoters park guys and bench them with no intent to use them, just so nobody else can use them.
Yeah. And this is the your guys' debut in Kitchener, but also debut of MMA at the Odd. Biggest venue around here. I've been waiting years for an MMA event to happen at the Odd. What did you guys face? Any challenges going up? Like when did you guys start working or talking with the Odd, or did it run smooth?
As far as I know, it's been relatively smooth. I mean, I don't have too many conversations with the folks at the venues. I'll definitely go and check the venues out with Sherry and Irene usually, and check them out, make sure that they sort of meet our quote unquote specs, and go from there. Outside of that, the interaction is with the facility is Sherry, and I don't believe I've heard too many negative comments whatsoever about how the folks at the Odd have been working. I know they're super excited at the Odd with the ticket sales that have been going on thus far, which is great news for us. But no, I think the Odd has been pretty straightforward and easy to work with. And selecting Kitchener was relatively easy. I mean, Jason Hagholm, our commentator, lives in Kitchener, so he was sort of poking me. I know there's a huge combat sports community in Kitchener. More so Muay Thai and kickboxing and stuff rather than MMA, but we're hoping to sort of kick that in the ass. We got a few local guys on the show, and hopefully the gyms will see a nice turnout of that from us coming down. But it's Kitchener's a fight town, and the Odd is a historic and beautiful venue that I'm ready to blow the roof off of next weekend.
That's awesome. Yeah, let's get into this card a little bit. Well, going into these cards, obviously covering the score back in the day and Global Warriors and the other people who popped up around here, a card will get announced and opponents will change about 15 times before the actual fights happen. Has this card stayed pretty intact since it came out?
Yes, I want to say yes.
Okay. Let's not jinx it. Fight week.
Yeah, I definitely don't want to jinx anything. To this point, I think I know that probably I'd say 95% of the folks have their medicals completed, passed, and submitted, all that stuff. So I'm not really worried about anybody last minute medical failures, which is always a good thing. Mm-hmm. We have had a couple changes. Kyle Blinkhorn, basically, unfortunately, the day or two after he received his contract, he had like emergency abdominal surgery or some crazy thing like that obviously sidelined him. And then we had a heavyweight bout with Mike Mead that fell apart for, I can't remember why. We paired him up, and then his guy got sick a couple days ago. So Edward Sponebarger just pulled out against Mike Mead. What else have we got that's changed? Knock on wood, I think that's really well. just kind of came down the pipeline to today, really. The James Clark Gabe Sagman fight's now off. Clark injured his knee late last week. I was super excited for that fight, but we're going to try to. Hopefully, James it's not blown out or complete tears or anything like that. So hopefully, he just rests for a few weeks and we put that on the Burlington show in June. But anyways, to answer your question, the nuts and bolts of this card have been the same since day one. I guess the other big name that I was really looking forward to was Pat Pitlick, who was supposed to fight. He got injured, or he had a family situation that had him pulled out of the card. But that was relatively early in things. But that was a huge blow to the card because he was part of the reason why we're going to Kitchener. And he's 7-1. The guy's a savage. I was so looking forward to his fight as well. So, but anyways, back to your answer again, or your question again. The nuts and bolts have stayed intact, knock on wood, thus far.
And I think, aside from the Clark fight, which just got scrapped recently, the Ronson-Lamson fight, which we already touched on, another one that stands out to me is obviously the Cody Pfister-Adam Asenza. Cody Pfister, obviously, has the UFC recognition to his name, but Adam Asenza, I've been watching that guy throw down for years around here, so it's always nice to see him back in there. I assume that, that's the perfect thing. You're putting Adam up against a guy like Cody Pfister as a bit of a name. Is that geared more towards Adam, giving Adam a little more shine because he's a hometown guy? He's getting a bigger name, getting a chance to advance his career?
Well, as you alluded to, Adam Senza is probably, I would argue that he is one of, if not the most exciting guy to watch fight in Ontario, if not in Canada as well, regardless of weight class. I mean, there's a short list of guys that are must-see TV. We happen to be very fortunate that most of that handful of guys compete for BTC. I'd say that super lightweight champ Scott Hudson's another one. But Asenza at 55 in Canada is one of the best. And people come from all over the place to watch this guy fight. It's crazy. The following that he has, it's really insane. But I get it because I get to sit 5 feet away from every single one of his fights. And it's unreal. He's just really, really exciting. He's looking he's kill or be killed. You're not leaving there. I mean, the Hamilton Ash fight was an anomaly in the fact that it went 15 minutes. Adam is going to knock you out or he's going to die trying. And he's ready. He's at a point in his career where he needs a push. There's no local guy that just sort of bumming around that he needs to fight. He's got to level himself up a bit, and Pfister's a perfect example of that. Cody Pfister did us a solid beginning of last year, coming in late notice to fight Kyle Propolek, and on a few days' notice, fought his balls off. Didn't get the victory. But so we're familiar with him. He's a super tough, durable guy. That's definitely going to give Adam a hard time. But that fight there is worth the price of admission alone.
Shit, eh? I can't wait for that one. What are some other ones that stand as a fight fan, not business minded? Some other ones on here that you're really happy you got to put together.
Well, the main event I think speaks for itself as well. The 1-2 punch now. I mean, the 25 title fight at the co-main spot was going to be a hell of a fight, just like one of those cartoon dust-ups where just you know what I mean. And at the end of the time, the one guy stands up. The Asenza now he's slotted in the co-main spot, but the main event, like I say, speaks for itself. No, there's not a lot of need to really break that one down. Ronson, UFC PFL vet, he's a couple of his losses are at the highest level, and you could argue that he should have got the nod for them. We know what he's going to bring to the table. We're fortunate enough that, the timing couldn't have been better for that looking for a fight episode with Lamson. But we've known about Troy for a very long time, with him being across the border in Michigan. He brings it. He's a wrestler. Ronson's the kickboxer, so that style matchup is going to be very intriguing. But I would also say that the series and Matteo Vogel is going to be one that I don't know, man. That's a 50-50 fight. And these are you rarely see two of the top prospects in the province, in the country, except to fight each other. A lot of the times these days, the guys are dodging and ducking more than, that movie Dodgeball. Like these guys, they still want to fight each other because they're afraid of losing. And Mateo and Siri both, when approached with this fight, both jumped in head first. And for Siri, it's an even bigger challenge, just given that he's dropping down to bantamweight for the first time in his career. And he looks great. He's healthy going into it. But this is the fight that I've got circled outside of the co-main and the main event spot that everyone should be watching out for. And this has got Fight of the Night written all over it.
And as far as pacing, so there'll be is there going to be an intermission between the prelim and the main card?
It all depends on how things are rolling. Like if we're buzzing through the first 4 fights, we may do an intermission just to sort of let everyone sort of catch their breath and stretch their legs quick. And we had in Ottawa, we were forced to take 2 separate intermissions on a card that had 5 bouts on it, but because it was unfortunate we only had 5 fights, but the fights were amazing. I really encourage you to go check those ones out because you don't need a lot of time because they were all first round finishes. And
shit!
Yeah, they were all first round, and it's not like they were mismatched fights either. Very evenly matched fights, but the guy that won got it done quick. And the problem when that happens repeatedly is that the ambulance or the paramedics or the doctors are sitting stationed with an injured person. Wow. And then a few seconds later, there's another body that needs to be looked at by the doctor, and then another one. So the commission had us take 2 separate breaks due to the lineup in the. It's worth noting that everybody was okay, no major issues or anything like that, but stitches don't take 11 seconds to do, whether there's 4 or 40 of them. Yeah. So pacing all depends on how the night goes. Fortunately, we can sort of dictate however we want to do it. If we want to do a break between the prelim or the prelims and the main card, we will. If we don't, we won't.
Yeah. So right now, is it going to be a 5-fight main card?
4 and 4. We'll probably split it up, unless I'm working on a couple things right now. There's it's potential that we end up with 10 fights at the end of the day next week. But yeah, it all depends on how things go with weigh-ins and all that stuff. That kind of bout order or prelim main card stuff. Given that we're not broadcast on the TV or streaming or anything like that, we're not super concerned about how you break down the prelims and the main card.
Right, and that's because I was just trying to think. Obviously, Ronson Lampson's the main event. Asenza, Cody, are they moving into the co-main slot with Clark?
Correct. Yep, that's right.
And then you'll have Sydney and Vogel. And then who would be the 4th? Connor and Hogg?
No.
It's just because it's listed on Tapology, right? Where I think, as far as I know, Hogg just made his pro debut, and Seth has.
No, he hasn't. Seth's 0-2, and Luke's making his debut.
This is Luke's debut. Okay.
Yeah, this is Luke's debut. So the way, if I'm just looking at him, like Tapologies has all the right fights, but it's definitely not even close to the right order.
Yeah, I can tell this is in order. That's why I'm trying to.
That's okay. I mean, I'd rather
at least
really
there, right?
Yeah, the order doesn't matter so much as the accurate and correct fights are listed. That's what I'm most in, the right weights and all that stuff. And they've done a good job at getting the weights correct and the opponents paired up and all that good stuff. So I think if we're going to go main card, we'll go Ronson, Asenza, City, probably Cameron. And then if we're going to do 5, let's just for fun, we'll do 5. It would be the Chris Allard, Xavier Nash fight. Okay. I think. Which that one too, that's secretly a wicked fight. Chris Allard and Xavier Nash, that fight's going to be bonkers for sure.
There you go, everyone. That's the sleeper. Pay attention. Be in the building for that one.
I think so. I would think so. Like, just looking at it, like two guys that are relatively unassuming. Allard, very quiet guy, 2-2. We've seen him before. He fought, I think it might have been his pro debut against Matt Special, who's a stud. And then Xavier Nash, we watched him go 15 minutes with Scott Hudson, and that was like waiting for the judge's decision. Going, fuck it, this could go either way. I had no idea who. Like, it was a tough
Scott
fight.
Hudson's another exciting one.
Yeah, man, and Nash took him the distance and fought. Like, he got in there and fought him. Like, there was no dicking around. He wasn't going in there to roll over just for a couple bucks. He went in there, was like, no, let's fucking go. We're gonna fight, and and let's go. So
Cool.
he's coming off of a shoulder injury. But yeah, and he stepped up on, who was Chris supposed to fight? Did Chris have a guy and his guy got injured? I can't remember, but Nash has not been like preparing for 2 months for this fight, by the way.
Oh shit. So
Yeah.
yeah, not real short.
He's
notice,
had about
but-
a month, 6 weeks, something like that, but it's
Okay.
not like a full camp that everybody wants.
Mhm.
But that fight's going to be really, really good. That's another one that I'm super excited for. I mean, I'm excited for all of them. It's so cheesy for me, like, oh, Cameron and Paul. I'm super excited for. I genuinely, and I mean it when I say that I'm really excited for all of them. Like even Avinash Chowdhury, this guy comes to break your face every single time that he goes to fight. He's fought Siri twice and had Siri hurt in one of the fights. He had him hurt, and I thought for sure that he was going to finish him out. Yeah, man, he's a really quiet guy. Keeps to himself. He's now finally, after 3 pro fights, he's in an MMA gym and he's learning how to wrestle. He's learning jiu-jitsu, and it's not just him in a bag in the basement somewhere. You know what I mean? So he comes to smash Forest Airs, undefeated amateur prospect coming up from Chris Lee Burns' gym in London. There, another guy that we're another dude from London. And, right now those guys are the busiest gym. You could argue in the area. They're banging amateur fights out. They got a good solid pro team now. So these are 2 guys that I'm excited to see how they work out. Luke Hogg and Seth Connors, same type of deal. Luke's had a handful of amateur fights. Connors had a bunch of them. Dropped his 2 first pro fights, but so they're both going to be hungry to pick up a win. Both guys are relatively local, so they're going to definitely want to pick that win up at home. So I'm excited about all these fights. They're all really good fights, and you asked me about a fight, I'm going to say I'm really excited for it, no matter which one it is. I can't help myself. I don't want to say that because it's repetitive. And oh yeah, of course you are a dickhead. You have to say that.
It is true though. This is a real nice card. Like this is fucking for regional MMA. This is the pinnacle right here for like a regional MMA show.
The beauty thing is too, and I appreciate you saying this. This is the 9th time we're going to do this. If you look at, and I dare you to find the time to watch every single one of our fights to date. There's one shitty fight.
And who is it?
I'm not telling you who it is. I'm not want to put them on blast. No, I do not want to do that.
That's fair. I had to shoot, right?
Of course. Shoot your shot. I won't do it because I like the 2 guys that were involved in it. It just was not a great fight. Simple as that. We've been lucky that 8 fights deep, we've had one less than awesome fight. The rest have been stellar. So we're
a few fights that have been, in the history of you doing this that you put together, and when it was all done, you just kind of brushed the dirt off your shoulder, like, yeah, I did that.
Phew. That's not an easy fuck. That's not an easy question.
We're gonna be all fucking night, eh?
we could be. I mean, I have to go back and look, but right off the top of my head, I remember very, very, very clearly the Anastasia Nikolakakis and Coralie Dixon fight from BTC 1 or BTC 2. That was really like, you light the stick of dynamite, throw it in a cave, and boom, it was fuck. It was a really, really, really good fight. Let me see. Yeah, that was number one. I can't get the vision of Asenza knocking out Sean Wallace out of my head. I can't get the Series City, the head kick knockout at in Ottawa at 7. There's a picture that one of our photographers captured. It's so savage, where Bastien is knocked out stiff. His eyes are rolled back in his head. The ref is diving to take Siri off of him, and Siri's looking back with this murderous look in his face at his corner, with his tongue hanging out. It's like a thing that you'd see on the Nature is Metal Instagram. I love those things are stuck in my head. Vladimir Kazmakov's fight in Windsor last year was it didn't start off all that hot, but the way that he finished and stiffened up Chuck Mady, Scott Hudson when he fought DeJuan Pickney, that was a good one. Anytime Matt Special gets in the cage, it's generally unforgettable.
Mm-hmm.
That kid's a beast. There's so many of them, man. Like there's so many good fights that we've been fortunate to see. And I don't even go back and watch them once they're done. Not that I'm done with them, but it's just, okay, we're on to the next. We got to go on to the next. And I'm always looking forward rather than behind. And I don't have a ton of free time that I can go back and really enjoy sort of the fruits of our labors. Kyle Prepelec and Pfister was a dynamite fight too. Lindsay Garbett, anytime she fights is awesome. I love her to death.
Yes, she's awesome. She's a vet around here too.
Yeah. Oh yeah. She's got, I think, 15 MMA fights. 15,
yeah, she's up there,
fights.
with like the Josh Hills and the Elias Theodoros, and like fucking she's been on this circuit a long time.
She's a pioneer, bro. She's a pioneer. No
man.
question about it.
Yeah. Can't say enough good things about her. Speaking of moving forward, like you said, June is the next event, BTC 10.
June 6th, Burlington.
June 6th,
yes,
Burlington. Sir. What's on the agenda for that so far? Anything that you guys have scheduled, announced out there?
Nothing announced. Definitely, because I've got a few screws loose. I had some time earlier this week that I started putting pen to paper on what I'd like to see on that one. Definitely nothing that I would like to share at the moment, but
no, I wasn't shooting that time.
It's called the Night of Champions, and it's kind of like our WrestleMania. The Burlington Training Center is located obviously in Burlington, so that's home base for us. So it's kind of like our WrestleMania, like I say. So we try to do that one up real big every year, and I expect this one to be much bigger than the ones we've done in the past, with plenty of gold to go around, and definitely a lot of familiar names and faces will be in Burlington on June the 6th at the Central Arena.
That's awesome. We'll be talking, after this event, we'll be talking again, and obviously leading up to that, and more and more as BTC grows and does more and more shows. Before I let you get out of here, is there anything we're missing for fight fans need to know about BTC 9?
BTC 9, no, I think we're covered most of it. Tickets, the floor is sold out, so if you were hoping to sit close to me or get right close to the fans or the fights rather, you'll have to do it from the lower bowl because I do believe the floor is now sold out. But that's no big deal. Still lots of those available. Definitely the upper bowl sections of that that are opened up, $25 for those spots. So if you're
can't beat that.
If you're balling on a budget, man, and you want to,
I say that all the time.
Yeah, man. Hey, if you're balling on a budget and you want an affordable night out and something unique, something interesting, check it out. Because again, with Burlington being home base, I have the ability to sort of bring in some different people that have never been before. And I brought a few of the ladies from the office at work, and they brought their gentlemen friends with them. So these are 4 individuals that have never once been to one of these events. Wow. And they were floored. I kept checking in on them, parts through the show. They were amazed at the skill level, the professionalism of the event itself and how things were going. And they'd seen some boxing here and there on TV or whatever, but nothing quite like this. And they were immediately hooked. Siri's neighbor, went out of his, he saw my badge. So he's like, hey, do you work here? Yeah. He's like, Siri got hurt. He was going to give me, sell me back my buy back my ticket because he wasn't fighting. And I said, nah, forget it. I'll come and support and check it out. I've never seen it. So I want to see what it's all about. He goes, I'm hooked. I'm hooked. I'll be at all these things. You keep coming, doing these things. I'm coming. This is awesome. And that's what we're trying to do. We make it affordable so that people with even the slightest little bit of interest can roll the dice, so to speak, on let me dump $25-$30 on a ticket. I'll go check it out.
Have
Boom, they're hooked.
Beers, watch some fights.
Hey man, whatever you're into, you can do it, and I'm guaranteeing you get to have a good time. Yeah. There's no question about it.
I know a ton of people from around the area that are going. Long before I even started talking to Patrick about setting up some interviews for the show and getting some details on the fight card a few weeks ago, I had people reaching out to me on Facebook, text me, whatever, saying, because they know I'm so like I'm into MMA so much. They're like, hey, what's this thing that's going down at the Odd? I heard about this thing on the radio. I saw this thing on the internet. Like, is it legit? And I'm telling them all, like, yeah, like it's going to be awesome. You need to go. And I would say a good 80-90% of those people have got back to me like, yo, I got my tickets. So it's definitely a buzz here.
There's a buzz, yeah. Like I see some of the stuff from social and the different ads that we're running and stuff like that. There's definitely buzz. Which is fantastic. Just hopefully that translates to people going through the turnstiles and showing up to check it out. To go back to your point about the looking forward, I don't know that it's been publicly announced yet, but BTC, what are we at, 9, 10? So 11 and 12, we've figured out when that's happening. August 22nd in Brampton.
Okay.
And then November the 21st, the third Saturday, I think, in November, we'll be at St. Catharines in the Meridian Center.
Nice. I love the way you guys spread it out too, going around to, you know what I mean? Not just stick it in. Well, home base, like you said, is Burlington, but
yeah,
you've touched Windsor. You're going to touch Kitchener. You're going to St. Catharines. You touch Hamilton, like all these areas of Southern Ontario. You guys was it Mississauga as well? So, was it that?
We did a show. Our second show was in Oakville.
Yes. Yeah. So, like, I love that you guys are doing that and spreading it around, because you're definitely touching new markets. Because people are lazy, right? And if they don't hear a thing like UFC, they're like, "Well, I'm not going to drive from Cambridge to fucking wherever, Hamilton or St. Catharines." If it was UFC, they might, but they think this. But when you're touching these backyards, I think that's how you're going to get, BTC 10 people in Kitchener are going to say, "Hold on, wait, it's just a quick trip to Burlington. I went to the last one; it was awesome." Right. So
right. Well, that's I'm hoping that the one thing that I'm hoping to sort of cross over between those two events is that I'm really hoping and working on now for the June show a little bit of Kitchener flavor on that Burlington show that we may not have with us this coming weekend. So I'm hoping I can get it sorted by the weekend so that we can make the announcement on Saturday, so that those 2,500, 3,000 people that are there will be fired up, and at least half of them will want to come to the Burlington show for that announcement. So we're working on some big things. Like I said, come June, we'll be looking at 2021 different spots where we're going to go. We haven't done any repeat visits aside from Burlington thus far. I don't know if we plan to, but I mean, if there's a market, it's like, say, Kitchener blows us out of the water with our expectations, we're coming back. The Niagara region, we were there in the fall last year, and they blew our minds with the support. The mayor of Niagara Falls was so grateful that we were there. He was so excited. He was thrilled that, like, at the end of the night, he couldn't believe it. He had a hell of a time. So the fun thing is that there's markets that are calling us saying, "Hey, can you guys come do a show here?"
That's awesome. That screams success, man. That is awesome. Good for you guys.
So that's the idea. And we don't want to do too many repeat visits and water it down the brand, right? So if Kitchener is great, we may not come back 2021, but we come back 2022. People are going to be freaking out, like, "Thank God you're finally coming back." Blah blah blah. That's the idea. So we want to touch as many markets as we can to get those local athletes a spot to shine in their backyard, which they may not get or have had the opportunity to before. So at the end of the day, it's all about the athletes and giving them an opportunity to stay active, stay busy, but also, fight in the backyard.
Yeah, and with those 4 events, BTC 9, June, August, and then the one in the fall, is that that'll be it for the year? You guys banked on those 4 events? You're not going to try to squeeze something in anywhere?
I'm always trying to squeeze them in.
Oh.
If we can do a fifth on the year, that means that I've won the argument. And we constantly, and I don't know why we even fight about it, because there's so much work that goes into these shows that it's like, God, there's no rest, because we're end of February. I'm already looking at the June show, which is insane. So why would I want to throw more fuel on that fire? But it's because I love it. I absolutely love it. And so I have fun doing it. I love doing it. The group that we have is fantastic, and the athletes have all been awesome for the most part. So why wouldn't I want to keep doing it? But yeah, 4 for sure. Like I say, if we can squeeze in a 5th, I win some sort of an argument or a bet, or I have photos.
Regardless, you won.
That's right.
And before I let you get out of here, we got to go over one more important thing. I know you went
Sure.
and saw Theo Vaughn last week.
I
How was
did.
it? How was it?
Dude, it was awesome. I'll be honest with you. I went in there with like really, really low expectations because I think maybe like Tuesday night, my wife hadn't seen or heard of the guy before she was coming with us. So I'm like, all right, let me just give you a taste of what this guy's all about. I put on his special from 2015 or 16 or whatever. And it was garbage. I turned it off like 15 minutes and it was junk. I'm like, fuck. I really hope that he's improved over the last 4 years. We were going. My sister-in-law bought the tickets for my brother for his birthday, and we were trying to get Dalia, but he had sold out. He was in Rama in January rather. He had sold out. So she saw that Theo was there, whatever. So I went in there with like the lowest expectations. And the host was fantastic. He was really good in his 10, 15 minutes. The opener, who I'd seen before, was hilarious. And then with Theo, so I was already like, they did a good job of warming us up because I was red hot by the time he came on. Awesome. And within minutes, I was full blown tears down my face and my nose. I was laughing my ass off. And to start to finish, he burned through the hour, and it was awesome. I'm glad the expectations were so low because it was a grand slam. I couldn't have been happier with it. It was a really fun night.
Yeah, I'd really like to see him. Who else have you seen? Oh, sorry, go ahead.
Who have I seen stand-up wise?
Yeah.
I think I went to something in the fall in Hamilton that was like a Just for Laughs kind of tour that they were doing with 3 comedians, and Rick Mercer was the host. That was okay.
Oh wow, Rick Mercer. That's a name I haven't heard in years.
Yeah, they rolled out the old relic. He was pretty good. I mean, he was definitely, some of his jokes were geared towards his more age demographic stuff.
Dad jokes and shit.
Yeah, a lot of dad jokes and like political stuff from like whatever he did on TV that sort of missed their mark with me because I could give 2 shits about politics. But
yep, me too. I'm with you.
I can't remember the dude's name. I tried to find him on Instagram and stuff, but I can't remember. He had headlined that, and it was really good. I saw Tom Segura a year or 2 ago.
I would love to see him live.
Yeah, he's one of my favorites.
Yeah.
And I can't remember. Beyond that, it's been a while since I've seen anybody. But I'd like to see Bill Burr. I'd like to see Chris D'Elia.
Yep. Chappelle would be awesome, I think. Dave Chappelle.
Yeah, I don't know. I was absolutely a fan.
Oh,
100% a fan. I just don't know that I'd be able to afford a ticket.
Oh,
that's all. Like the one dude that I could watch his specials on repeat right now is Sebastian Maniscalco. That dude is hilarious. If you haven't seen him, you got to check him out.
I haven't, but I know exactly who you're talking about.
He's got 3 or 4 things on Netflix, specials on Netflix. They're all hilarious. Like for me, really laugh out loud funny, and I don't laugh out loud when I laugh. He's really, really funny. He's in Niagara Falls in a month or 2, but the tickets are like $200.
Whoa!
And for one ticket, fuck that.
Fuck that for stand-up comedy. Fuck that.
But this is the thing. I paid $52 a piece for Theo, and would have paid $100 and change for it because the show was that good. There's a couple of clips of Sebastian that right for me. I watch it, I laugh my ass off. I would dump $2 on the ticket for this guy in a heartbeat. Right then I come home and say again.
I wonder what it costs to go to one of those roasts where they have like a whole panel, like like the Justin Bieber roast or any of those.
Yeah, you don't pay. Nobody's in there. Nobody that's in there has purchased a ticket. That's 100%.
I guess, yeah, they're all celebrities in there, right?
It's all invite. It's all invite the guy's friends, his family, and stuff like that. And those things too. I mean, they're kind of funny, but it's only. For me, it's only funny when Martha Stewart or what she had those jokes about Snoop or being in jail and stuff. Someone wrote that for her. But
I think
that's
Tony Hinchcliffe.
Probably.
I'm pretty sure he was on Rogan saying that. I'm pretty sure he was saying he wrote them for her.
But I wouldn't, a comedian making fun of another, like Jeff Ross making fun of somebody else, like big deal. They would do that wherever. Yeah. But no, I love stand-up comedy.
Me too.
Sebastian would be like the top right now. He's one of my favorites. Him, D'Elia, Burr, and Tom Segura for sure, like my top 5. I have no time for Brendan Schaub. That guy's not funny.
No, God, no. I haven't even watched his stand-up. I'm not gonna bother. It's
No.
apparently it's so bad that it's not even funny bad. It's just fucking bad.
Well, hopefully he just hangs the mic up, or fuck it, let him keep working at it. Give him another shot.
Yeah.
But not for me. And even him and Theo, that's not
for me either.
No, I mean, you can call somebody a wet muskrat like how many friggin' times before it's not funny. Yeah. But anyway, we digress.
Yeah, the fight fans are hating us right now.
I'm sure there's a lot of cross-reference there. So anyone that went to see Theo this weekend in Toronto, and I know that there was a bunch from the gym and our little circle here, a bunch of different people went and had a great time. So those that didn't go missed out, but I would recommend next time he's in town checking him out.
Nice. All right, Rob, let everyone know where they can find you. Any other things you want to plug before I let you get out of here?
Definitely want to plug the show this weekend, February 29th at the Odd in Kitchener, BTC 9. We got a loaded card as per usual. Tickets available, btcfight.ca. There'll be some tickets available at the door, obviously, so check that out. Anybody that's an aspiring athlete, shoot me a message on Instagram or Twitter, Robert J. Veevers 2. And that's because I'm the second, not because I fucked up my first account and made a second one. I am Robert J. Veevers the second. That's why. Check us out. BTC Fight. Follow an account to follow is BTC Fight. The guys that work the social media and that sort of stuff do a hell of a job with the promos and stuff like that. Keep an eye on that for athlete signings. We're definitely signing guys for future shows, announcements for future shows. Stay tuned to that stuff. So BTC Fight on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, all that stuff is where you'll find all of our information. Anyone that wants to know how they can get licensed or where they should go train or anything like that, feel free to shoot me a note and I'll be happy to guide them down the right path or put you in a fight.
Awesome. There we have it. Thanks for your time, Rob. I really appreciate it. And I will see you Saturday night.
Thank you, my man. Shoot me a text or a DM. I'd like to meet you for sure.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. We need to meet face to face for sure.
Awesome. I appreciate your time, brother, and taking the time to talk to the guys too. It really means a lot.
Yes, no, man, it means a lot for you guys coming here. And like I said at the start of this, I've wanted MMA in that building for years now, so I have to do my part. As soon as I saw the announcement, I was like, hold on, I got to get a hold of somebody here.
Yeah, for sure, for real.
Right,
that's
man.
Awesome. Thanks again.
All right, man. I'll talk to you on Saturday.
All right, brother. Thanks.
Later.
Bye.
And there we have Rob Veevers, BTC Matchmaker, chiming in on many things from matchmaking to finances to stand-up comedy. A little bit of something for everyone in there. So as you've heard, BTC 9 going down February 29th at the Odd in Kitchener, Ontario. You can still purchase tickets, btcfight.ca or theodd.ca. Running out fast. You're down to about a week left now. And it is going to be a legit MMA event. As I mentioned to Rob on there have been, that was no bullshit. There has been a lot of people reaching out to me wondering what exactly is going on here. And as Rob's job, he just has to hype the show up, right? It could be a card full of just no good fights whatsoever, and you still gotta hype it up. But there's zero lies detected in the things he said. This card it's dope from top to bottom. If you're an MMA fan and you don't go, what's going to happen is you're going to say, fuck, I wish I would have went to that event. So trust me, get out there, gobble up those tickets while they're still available. And if MMA is something that you're a casual fan of, you can still go to this. Like Rob said, $25 gets you in the door. You spend more than that on pizza. Don't give me that shit. So February 29th, BTC 9, The Odd, Kitchener, Ontario. Get those tickets. Thanks again to Rob Veevers for joining us. Really appreciate his time. Look for some other content as the week goes on leading up to the fight. We're going to have some fighters on the show to talk to you and, give you their perspective, talk about their lead up to this event, and talk about working with BTC. Make sure you follow us on Twitter at TheBuildingDT. Make sure you follow and subscribe, YouTube, iTunes, Google, Spotify, all those places. And until next time, thanks for listening. Out.
Building downtown.